and sit them down because today we're talking about my trip to Japan. Konnichiwa. Sumimasen. Mushi mushi. One Coke highball, please. Arigato gozaimasu.
You know what's weird? That's literally all the phrases you need to know while in Japan.
Okay. But really, we're also wanting to talk about how we were cursed in Japan. Yes, my friends, I full-heartedly believe that my trip to Japan, we were cursed. The entire group. And we'll get into that, but let me just, I'm just going to talk about my Japan trip because I do think that something supernatural happened to some degree. No joke, not even clickbait. Hashtag true story. It's a curse. I was fucking cursed, okay? Which, let me just say, intro to Japan, because people are going to...
The only thing he's cursed with is type 2 diabetes. Like, hopefully his trip went well though. Wait, oh my god, like how big is this? Wait, is this it fixed now? Oh my god, this wasn't even the right ratio. What the hell? Okay, anyway.
You're gonna wonder, what do you think of Japan? I've gotten that a little bit on social media. The pros. Beautiful city. Clean, right?
Oh.
Infrastructure, amazing.
Yes,
People,
Japan, the city.
friendly. Well, we'll see. I would say the food was good, but I'm also gonna count the food as a negative. The food, everywhere I went, the food is good. I feel like in America, you can go into a place and you just know you're going to get sick. Like I've been to many of those places, indulged in many of those places, and I paid the price. In Japan,
what was that slop? Wait, I
negative. Everywhere I went, the food is good. I feel like in America, you can go into a place and you just know you're going to get sick. Like I've been to many of those places, indulged in many of those.
Yeah, what is that? That looks like fucking hot cross buns covered in cream and some sort of mince.
Probably gravy or something.
Yeah. Of course you would, Holly. Fuck, man. Biscuits and gravy? Why is the gravy white? Okay.
Those places.
Hi, Lucy.
I paid the price. In Japan, it was like the pro and negative, I guess I'll just get out of the way, is that like it's all kind of the same. It's like they have a very tight dish of things that they do, and some places just specialize in little things, which you could say the same thing about America with like burgers and all the other bullshit, but you at least have some different varieties. What was kind of crazy is like when I was in Japan, I was like, man, I would kill for an enchilada. You know what I mean? I'd kill for an enchilada. And I went to McDonald's just because I was like, I gotta switch this shit up, dude. McDonald's in Japan.
Chicken biscuits.
If that's the whole grain good shit, give me the processed goop. Give me the sludge and the slime, dude.
Man, that's such a fucking weird opinion, though. Like, he wasn't going to the right places if all the food was the same. I mean, they do have, like... If you're going to Japan and you're surprised there's Japanese food everywhere, I hate to break it to you, but they only cook so many dishes. You know? But they do have like other restaurants like over there. Like they have like British restaurants, American restaurants. Like they probably have Mexican somewhere because they do have like a big South American worker population. So you know, it's like everywhere. Like you've got your regional dishes and then you've got like your specialty stuff. You know.
Bring that back to me. The fries were good, at least. Every building had a good sign, which doesn't sound like an extreme. You'd be like, well, why the f does that matter? I guess growing up in America, which it's probably the same. I was gonna say in the Midwest. I mean, it's just text. There's nothing fun or enthralling about it. This is like you could be a sushi shop, but it's like a fun neon sign, or even just like little ways that they do graphic design. The graphic design is on point, my friend. Right? And if you're into like otaku culture, and if you're into like nerdy games and stuff, it's really, I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, anime is everywhere, obviously, but even to degrees that I didn't understand of like your local police station, it's going to be anime. It's going to be.
They literally have these little boxes. Like, I fucking not even shitting you. They look like phone boxes. And they'll just be like a little Japanese police officer just vibing in there. And you're just like, but it's like everywhere. So like if you're in the city, there's like a police officer every like 100 feet or something, which is kind of cool to know that you're safe, but There's a lot of police officers, and if you're foreign, like, they stare at you like a lot. They're like, you're up to something. Got our eyes on you. You're like, God damn.
It may be a construction site. It's going to be anime. It's going to be like a beagle or something. Remember the beagle? It was cute. But I thought all that was cool. It was just something so diverse and different. Also, just the amount of people. There's like a pulse of life in every town you're in. Some towns can be crazy and chaotic, and then some towns can be very quiet and quaint and very relaxing. It's nice. But in some way, it always feels like it's hope in some kind of weird way. A lot of Midwestern towns I've been to, it is the opposite. This is the end. This is death. This is my forever. You know, that's exactly how I feel. Which
I feel like that's really weird though, because like I went to like the city and I felt like here the city feels like the end. It's this bleak gray hellscape. Like, I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but like in Glasgow it's just gray wall-to-wall buildings as far as the eye can see. And in the very distance, you can see the hills. But, like, it feels like they're forever away. And, like, when I remember living in my small town and just being like, man, this is great. I can see the ocean. Like, there's fucking no jobs, but, like, it's really pretty and nice here. You know? Depends on the city. Probably. Hi, billboard. But yeah, like it probably does depend on the city. I mean, like in Scotland, like the cities are pretty shit. Like, unless it's like a historical tourist city, then like they maintain like a lot of stuff. But Glasgow, the biggest city in the whole of Scotland, is a fucking shithole, man. Like, people there are happy, but it's a shithole.
I've gone and done different things and come back to appreciate it more, but it's dreams go to die. That is just you're born and do not dream, just get a job and die. That's what it feels like. And one more thing, I guess, too, is the I feel like everybody just takes like a lot of pride in their work, you know? Like, even people working at like a McDonald's, it felt like every job felt like it had a purpose, which I guess here in America it's like maybe just more entitled.
Oh, goddammit,
more entitled feeling. I would say my favorite thing by far is the rich religious culture of like shrines and temples. Was beautiful. The architecture, the appreciation, coming from also a place like America, the oldest thing we have is from the late 1700s, realistically, of like the American history and stuff like that. So going to things that are like hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of years old, is fucking awesome. And to see people still going there, paying respect.
Oh, yo! Yo, thanks for, thanks, Camus, for gifting, Shia gifted sub for a year. A whole year.
Chemist44 has gifted a sub to R31NG00F3.
That's really cool.
Greetings, Sean and Chat and Sean. Smiley face.
Oh,
hope you all
yeah.
have a great day and
I
hope
forgot
no
you told
one
me
has
that.
to deal with basement burning, especially plastic involved.
Right, so this is kind of like an out there statement from him. But his, like, Shy's basement was on fire. Because I thought he was joking. But, like, Shy actually, like, his house was on fire. I was like, holy fuck.
What did Shy do?
Well, he said he didn't do anything. It was just in his basement. But, like, they managed to get it put out before it did any real damage. But it's going to be stinking smoke for, like, a while. Yeah, he seems fine. I mean, he was on his PC playing VR chat earlier. I joined him.
Like, while the fire's still happening.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, the house is on fire. It's fine. It's fine.
No, my house is fire.
Yo, my house is fire. Yeah, that sucks, dude. That sucks. I don't know. I think it's cool though. The Japanese like are so into their religious stuff, but like, and not in kind of like a cringe way. You know, like they're kind of like passively religious. You know how like you go places and sometimes there'll be like a preacher and they'll be like, "You will burn in hellfire if you do not come to my church in particular, where we serve cake." And you know, you're like, well, fuck, dude, like that was a bit intense. Like they're just kind of like really passive with their religion. Their main ones, anyway. They have a couple of pushy cults. I had some run-ins with cults when I was in Japan, and they're kind of scary, but it's cool. We'll talk about that later at some point. But like, there's a couple of like weird cults they have over there. There are cool things, but only in big cities like Tokyo and Osaka. Yeah, Osaka was pretty cool. I really wanted to go to Kyoto.
There was some stuff where it was like either we were on the wrong side of the sidewalk. There were so many different like rules and stuff to where people will bump into you and they'll like be like fuck off. And you know, there's probably a big thing of people being like, why the fuck are there so many tourists here? I want to fucking put a bolt in their head. Hey, I'm right there with you, buddy. So at first, like I said, I'm looking at him and I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna walk right through.
Carbonated.
I'm like, okay. And I take like a step back. Little Midwest hospitality.
Go ahead.
But he doesn't walk through our group. He goes right up behind Harry. By the time that he gets really close to Harry, everyone notices it besides Harry because he's standing behind Harry. So everyone kind of stops talking and he goes up to Harry and he gets really close to Harry's face. I mean, like maybe 3 inches. I mean, it was really close. And his mask is on and his eyes get really wide. Wide, like he is like looking into the depths of his soul. He looks at Harry and he does, "I sorry." He goes,
is that old Broadshore? Probably.
"I sorry." And he's looking at him and he keeps looking at him and they're both just looking at each other. And then he just finally and starts shuffling off. And it's
maybe he thinks he is the ghost of a kid that he killed when he was younger, and he's apologizing. Like what is that?
Slow, real slow. And of course we turn to each other and we're like, what?
Well, maybe that.
What in the fuck is that? We turn back. The guy's gone. He's gone. We looked over for 3 seconds, 4 seconds maybe. He's gone. There's some people. Oh, when we got lost in the crowd. No way. He was going so slow to where it's almost like we turned away and he'd have to have dead sprinted.
So I was going to say, once he saw you guys look away.
He Batmaned.
So this begins now the list of things that confirm that we were cursed. I don't know if there is something where a curse can be transmitted from like marking somebody with his eyes, like by just looking at this guy and we all looked at him, we were cursed. I don't know. It's a very superstitious culture. I'll say that. So who knows? I guess I'll say my end. That night, I immediately got very sick. So sick, in fact, that for the next 4 days in Japan, I was bedridden. I mean, I could not, I was fatigued. I got up and I think right now there's like a huge outbreak of like influenza or something in Japan or something like that, you know, record high. But it was just that night, I immediately was just kind of like,
was it you,
you're getting sick in your throat and you're like, fuck. That next morning, I'm not even joking. It felt like, I mean, I couldn't eat, even just like choking down water.
To be fair, like, see, if you're a tourist in Japan, you're fine. Probably unless you're Asian. Because if you're some sort of East Asian ethnicity and you go to Japan, they look at you and they assume that you're Japanese, right? And if you fuck up, they're more likely to say something to you. Like, whereas like if you're just like any other type of foreigner, they're just like, silly gaijin, what you like? Oh my god, oh, you look at them, they're like babies. You're like babies. But if you're Asian, like they get really angry. Like you should see Japanese people talking to Chinese people, like Chinese tourists, like they get fucking like angry and annoyed. It's wild. Like we were in a section where you had to like take your passport out to show you weren't a Japanese national to get a discount. And there was Chinese people in there. And as soon as they whipped out their Chinese passports, you seen the guys fucking eye rolled. And they started getting angry with the Chinese people. I'd never seen a Japanese person angry at this point. But they were like talking in kind of like broken English to the Chinese person. And they were getting fucking raging. And then the manager came up, looked at the passport, looked at the Chinese people, got angry as well. We were panicking when we went up to pay for our stuff, and they're like, look, Where are you from? Oh, we looked at our passports and we're like so happy, and we were like, whoa, fuck. Oh my god, I was so scared. Sean doing Sussy Mondays soon to him. You know, maybe it would be like that with Koreans. Maybe. Being 6 foot plus in Japan's not fun. There's a lot of tall Japanese people are a lot taller than I thought they would be. Apart from their women, but like the men are a lot taller than I thought they'd be. They're like kind of averaging out like 5'8", 5'9". Like they weren't like super short.
Goodbye.
Always streaking. Oh my god,
machine
streaking
just
in
resubbed
my
for 41
chat,
months.
our chat.
Always streaking.
Hotels aren't suited for tall people. True. Nazumi, you were Chinese. Nazumi's not Chinese. He's Puerto Rican. What are you doing? Right, anyway. Oh shit, we're only halfway through this video. I keep yapping.
I would try to get up because
Sorry.
I'm sitting in Japan in a hotel room, and I'm wasting all this vacation time. Like, I planned this, we worked so hard this year to fucking come out here and do this, and now I'm just like sitting in my room. But anytime I would get up and try to like go down to the lobby to get like a coffee or something, I was so lightheaded I feel like I was gonna black out. Seriously, that way for 4 days. So like everybody was kind of like, are you sure you can't come out? And it was fucking horrible. Like, I just kind of sat there and I felt plagued. That's how I feel like I was cursed. All right, I really did not get better until we went back to Tokyo, Akihabara. So really, I was sick the rest of the time that I was there. Mind you, the next person I'll talk about is Allison, because she was in the same room as me, obviously. So that night, I start getting sick. She's like, well, it's probably nothing, just drink water. I was like, okay. So the next morning, we kind of go through, I wake up, I still feel miserable. I put on like American Dad on TV. I'm just gonna go on fucking Japanese YouTube and watch American Dad compilations, because everything else, all the streamers are like region blocked or whatever. Allison is taking a shower, and then she just fucking screams. This is like 7 in the morning. Screams. Blood-curdling scream. I'm like sick and frightened. She comes running out and she's like, why the fuck would you look in on me? Jump scare me like that. She thought I was like looking at her through the shower trying to scare her. And I was like, dude, I'm looking at my fat ass like laying on this bed. I'm like, I've been here watching American Dad. She says, and I quote, there was a man looking at me through the steamed glass.
It was the old
Hands up on
man
the glass looking in on her. And she's like, it was crystal clear as day. But the only thing that she said was different was that she's like, I could have swore he had like black hair. I don't think it was the same, she's seeing aberrations of the man who cursed us, but I do think like some spooky shit's going on. All right. And one thing that me and Allison kept doing was we would look at Google reviews of businesses in Japan. It's really funny because those motherfuckers get mad over like the smallest, most insignificant things. And they'll write like, Bibles. So then we look at the hotel that we're at. It's in downtown Osaka. Look at the review. And one of the first ones was really fun trip, 3-star review. Because a lot of things in Japan also, people are like, it's perfect. They'll leave 3 stars. I don't know. 3-star review. What a wonderful trip, or I had a great time. Something like that. This fucking review was like, I had a great time at this hotel. The ghost tried scaring me, but I thought they were funny. I would definitely come back. And we're reading this like, what? Because at this hotel, there is a fucking temple right next door. Like, not even right next door. There is a tiny alleyway, and there is a full-fledged fucking temple. The guy in his...
Yeah, but that's everywhere in Tokyo and stuff. Like, there's temples, like, everywhere.
View basically goes like, oh, it was this guy with black hair, so-and-so, which everybody in Japan has black hair, but still, it was like one of these things with, he talked about the ghost from the temple. We went there the next morning and fucking read the placard of the guy who was at the temple, and she was like, this looks like him. They had like a picture of him. This looks like him, which I was just like, all right, dude, like... come on, Allison. Let's try to reel it in a little bit. But still, a fucking paranormal haunting happened. It freaked her out for the rest of going on. It's almost as if he had this stink about him. He was emanating some kind of stink that maybe we had become accustomed to through this thing. Almost like when someone like shits their pants and on a car ride, and after a while you're just like, you become one with it. You kind of accept it as a scent. Nick couldn't break the ice with anybody. And you know what's craziest of all, is that even in Golden Guy or any of the places where people were soliciting prostitution, no one came up to him once. Which maybe they're coming up to me because I'm a big fat ugly man, and they're just like, you surely need to pay for it, right? So maybe they're like, oh, we don't have to worry about him. But it's odd. Everyone else in our group, even Allison got solicited prostitution. Okay? Not one person went up to Nick to ask him in a fucking weird way. Not that he would indulge in it. I think he fucking wanted someone to.
It hurt.
Did you want somebody to come up and?
I felt like I wasn't wanted.
It is, isn't it? Kind of feels like everybody else
Maybe
gets
he was-
like, you go to like an ice cream
maybe they
store,
thought he was
right?
too good
Everybody else
looking.
gets a sample, and you're like the one kid left out. One Coke highball, please.
Do I not look desperate enough?
I don't think so. Probably not as me. I was kind of like, I had the big fat man waddle. I was like walking through the city. Oh. But as soon as we left Japan and we were flying in the air, there was
I'm really impressed that he managed to get around all the cities and stuff, because there's not really much in the sense of like drivable public transport like in Tokyo and stuff. It's mostly you walk, you get to a subway, you walk more. And even when you're in the subway, you need to sometimes like walk like half a mile through like underground subway stuff just to get to where you're going. So like I'm really impressed he managed to get around there, honestly.
a sense of ease. Like there was a sense of like, which
Okay,
you
see
could
you later,
associate
Zeno.
to a long trip and you're going home.
Zeno says
looking
night
forward
one.
to going home. But in a
All
weird
right,
way,
man.
it was us breaking the curse, the spell. You know, if we ever return, will it be reactivated as we enter this like barrier? You know, I don't know. All I know is I would go back to Japan. Not as long. We were there way too long. We were there 17 days. Next time I went to Japan, give me a week. 1 day for travel.
Right? I'm trying to break this to Keshi. Keshi wants to go for 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks to Japan this year. And I'm like, one, that's a fucking financial risk for me. Two, she would go there for 4 weeks if she could. There's nothing to do after week 2. Like, week 1's like maybe too long. But fucking 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, Jesus. That's so long. Like, and it costs so much to be there. Like, it's not cheap being in Japan. But that's what she wants for the honeymoon, so I think it's gonna be like just over 2 weeks we're going. But it won't be till November. Assuming nothing bad happens. Fingers crossed. No, you'd be surprised. Like, you eventually run out of money and energy to do anything. I like after a certain amount of time when you're in another country, you may as well just be living there. Like one time she wanted to go to London for a week. And I was like, I don't know. I feel like that's too long to go to London. Like, it's just London. And she's like, no, we're good.
London's too long.
Dude, yeah, right. 1 day. 1 day in London's too long. And I think we went down for like an opera or something. Not an opera. An orchestra. That's it. We went down for like an orchestra thing for like Final Fantasy or something. And she wanted to stay like a bunch of extra days. And I just eventually felt like we were living there. And I was like, this is shit. There's nothing to do. We just ended up sitting in the hotel room watching TV. Yeah, like we went to Disneyland, I think, one time for a week. That also sucked. For me anyway. Like, we went there and I thought it was fun the first couple of days. Like, it was a nice novelty. Then after like day 3, I'm like, we've done all the rides, we've ate all the food. What now? Oh yeah, let's go to Paris. And I'm like, oh god, shopping trip. Oh hey Katie. London's where you are? Well, I didn't know you then. Or did I? Actually, when was this? Like 4 or 5 years ago? It was definitely before COVID. Guys, like, we went to Final Fantasy Orchestra, and like that was really cool. We got like first free row seats. It was great. It was definitely an experience. And then like after that, everything just felt kind of meh. Oh, you would have been in Liverpool back then? Liverpool. Oh no, that's Birmingham.